Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we dig in deep to analyze the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, 1 minute at a time. I'm Andy Nelson from The Next Reel. We're looking at Jon Favreau's 2008 film Iron Man, and back with me today is Alex Thompson of the Independence Day Minute. Hello.
Hey, welcome back. Thanks for having me back. You can call me the dude or the duderino, his dudeness, the whole brevity thing, But yeah, hey, I'm back.
Yes, you got some Jeff Bridges minute here.
Yes,
it's
I do.
Great. A nice little way to introduce that. On today's show, we're looking at minute 93. The minute starts with Raza telling Obadiah that his deception and lies will cost him dearly. And it ends with Obadiah's point of view of Tony's screensaver. Yes, Gwyneth still pilfering the computer. This is we have the rest of the terrorist video as she's watching it. We kind of see the video play out as she's realizing what's been going on, and then she jumps into the copying of it. And again, we get that fantastic computer exposition where on screen, initiate copying, copying files, and we just kind of see it all visually happening for us, which is, I guess works in context of what we need to understand is happening.
Well, some of that is truth in television, because unless when you're using a graphical interface, you do kind of want the interface to actually tell you what's going on so that you don't just sit there going, is it doing something right now? If you're an IT administrator and you're working on a Unix command line system, okay, I hit copy and it's copying right now. But if you're a layperson user, you might want to know it's copying files right now. It's got 1,000 copies of file. It's on number 76 at the moment.
I get that. It's just very visual. Like as it's copying, it's opening the folder and it's opening each file, and you get to see each file kind of going back through the copying process. So it's a little much.
It is a little on the nose.
Yeah, just a bit. Before we kind of continue this, I did want to jump back to kind of this conversation we were having a little bit about the location we have here. We're filming at, like I said a couple minutes ago, I think I wasn't sure if we're on a set or not, because it could just be a green screen behind her with this image added, and we could be on a set, or it could be at the Massimo headquarters. I don't know. But we do have out the window, when we see Pepper working here, we see the Stark property. And right behind her on the ground below is the drive with the circle drive that has the YF-22 model in the center of the drive. This is what we saw earlier in the film when Tony is getting dropped off for his press conference after he's returned home from being rescued in Afghanistan. Weirdly enough, though, this YF-22 jet that's out there now looks gray, whereas earlier it was blue. I don't know why the color change. It does make me question if it was digitally added, though, or if they I just don't know. I don't know if they digitally added it here, but earlier it was a physical piece that was actually there. I'm not quite sure. It's odd, or it could be the window tinting.
Yeah.
Everything has a much browner look here. I don't really know.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably either the window tinting or this is a green screen. I suspect this is a green screen anyway.
Yeah, that's entirely likely. The other question I have is, though, as we're looking at this out this window, and if we look at the shot earlier in the film when Tony, we get the shot after the press conference, right before Obadiah goes to find Tony and they have the conversation in front of the arc reactor. We get a nice exterior kind of helicopter shot looking down at the whole Stark property. And if you look at the layout of everything here, and then you try to contextualize where is it that Pepper actually is in this office, it looks like, based on the curved windows here, she's in that front part of Stark Industries, in that round part, probably on the top floor because it's Tony's office. And based on kind of the buildings behind her, and you can see the circle drive in the back, it makes me feel like we're looking out back across the property here. However, we get this odd building 54 behind her, which is not in the wide shot. In the wide shot, you see a wall, and then you get the little building with kind of the glass front, which is where the arc reactor actually is, where Obadiah goes and chats with Tony.
Mm-hmm.
So this Building 54, I just have to say, Building 54, where are you? It mysteriously is in this shot, but does not seem to actually be on the property.
Oh. But that's a sizable property. If they have 54 buildings on this.
That is. It's entirely possible that we're not even on this particular same property. I mean, we could be on a wholly different Stark Industries office complex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know even like smaller companies, the CEO and the big higher ups will frequently have executive offices at multiple locations because they've got to go to multiple locations. And when they're there, they want to sit in their fancy executive office and not in the office of one of the peons.
Yeah. Although it doesn't, I guess going back to that, it doesn't make a ton of sense because Pepper is going to connect with Coulson and everything is going to kind of play out here through the end of the film. So it really has to be this property now that I said that, because we will need that arc reactor to be at the same place where Pepper is, not to jump too far ahead in the story. But
I'm guessing then that this is basically like kind of Stark Industries version of Google's campus. Just we have tons and tons of buildings and, this sprawling... the pictures that you've got up here in the chat, that like every building you can see in these pictures is Stark in universe.
Right. Yeah. We joked about that before. Like he actually labels all of his buildings. So, oh, this is Stark. Look, it says it right on the top.
It's got my name
Stark.
on it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like the digital artists who created this digital campus and this big helicopter shot obviously weren't working in context of the same people who were kind of working on this ground shot that we're looking at through Tony's office window. Little details. But as we find out, we're moving away from that. We have this nice little interruption as Pepper finishes watching the video and starts making the copies. We have kind of it's almost like a jump scare moment, which is kind of fun when all of a sudden Obadiah happens to be at the door and he says, "What are we going to do about this?" And great reaction from Pepper.
When we're microanalyzing this scene the way we are, Pepper is acting so suspicious.
Right. If we're Obadiah and he didn't actually hear anything, when he sees her sitting at the desk and she acts the way she does, she is a very suspicious acting character.
She is being she's only slightly less suspicious now that I realize that this is Tony's office, because it wasn't immediately clear to me when I was just rewatching these minutes getting prepared that this was Tony's office and not Obadiah's, because if that was the case, this is super suspicious. But it's still a little she looks like she's being caught right now.
Totally. Yeah, I think the clue is in this minute that it's Tony's office, because Obadiah walks over to pour himself a drink and he says, Tony always gets the good stuff, doesn't he?
Is it weird though? So no, Obadiah comes in with a drink in his hand and then pours a drink.
He comes in with a drink and then he pours her a drink. So, yeah, that's what's going on here. Unless he's topping his own off, but I think
he pours himself one.
And he pours her one too, because he ends up walking with two drinks over to the desk to give her one.
I do have to applaud the restraint to not have him pour a White Russian.
Oh, that would have been great.
I think a winkier, if this was the Deadpool universe, he would have poured himself a White Russian.
Probably.
Or she would have said, "You're not having a White Russian,"
Right.
Yeah.
The lines that he delivers here, I think, are actually they may come across as easy lines to kind of write, but I think that they are still fun the way that they're given to him and the way that Jeff Bridges plays with them, because it is very much designed as lines that he's saying that, did he catch her? Is he talking about the fact that he caught her in the act, or is he talking about Pepper and everything she's going through in context of Tony? Right. His first line is, "What are we going to do about this?" And then, "I know what you're going through, Pepper." The way he delivers that, it's like, I know you're going through my files. But it also can be like, what are we going to do about this? I know what you're going through, Pepper.
Yeah. Tony's a changed man. Yeah.
It's a great way to kind of write this so you can get these different reads.
Yeah.
So I think Jeff Bridges plays with them very nicely.
In general, it's such an interesting performance and a role here for Jeff Bridges. Because like on the one hand, I mean, if you're a genre-savvy viewer, the moment he comes on screen the very first time, there's something in the back of your head that goes, I think he's a bad guy. But like on the other hand, they're weapons manufacturers who don't make weapons. If you ignore the question of whether it's moral to manufacture bigger and better guns, Obadiah's right. Yeah. It's like Microsoft saying we're not going to make computers anymore.
Yeah, right.
This is a big problem.
Yeah, right. In a world where war is waged, it's a company that's just trying to make their bottom line.
Yeah, if we don't make them, Justin Hammer's going to make them, or somebody's going to make them the guns. And that was us.
Yeah, right.
And I do like this is one of the last Jeff Bridges parts of recent vintage where he didn't basically either play the dude or some gruff cowboy type.
Yeah, we've talked about that where it's almost like this third type where it's like that the presidential businessman type that he does like in The Contender and Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
It's this other Jeff Bridges that we have, which is, it's nice. It's nice to see these varieties of him.
Yeah.
Although it does seem like there's just three.
Yeah. I mean, granted, every actor's kind of got a few things they're capable, like, look, Dwayne Johnson plays Dwayne Johnson in every movie, but he does have a couple of different types, I guess, which is maybe more variety than a few people. And like, he does not feel like the dude, I think. Maybe there's like one or two lines where he feels a little dude-like, but mostly he doesn't feel like the dude at any point in this movie.
No, and just speaking to just what a great actor he is. I mean, as he's kind of delivering these lines and talking about the drinks that he's pouring and everything, and just the subtext that you get on his face. Did he hear her? Did he not hear the fact that she's looking at this video? Just the looks on his face as he's kind of studying her and changing his expressions and everything. It's very so mysterious. And I think he delivers it so nicely in a way that makes you feel like if you had not seen any of the stuff going on, it totally would still work as potentially a nice guy who's just talking to her about their boss.
Yeah. And so taking the sort of the interpretation that he doesn't know she is up to corporate espionage right now, what does he think she's doing right now?
Well, but that speaks to this whole thing of Pepper like being Tony's assistant, especially at this time when Tony is largely not coming into the office. Why wouldn't she be coming into his office to deal with things on his computers from time to time? Mm-hmm. I feel like that would be kind of a regular thing that as Tony's right-hand person would be happening pretty frequently. So it shouldn't be a surprise that she's in here. If anything, and we're talking about maybe this is a Saturday, maybe that's the surprise, is that she's here
on a Saturday,
on a weekend, which seems odd. But then why is he here?
And why are they both there dressed up in their professional
dressed
clothes?
For work.
I've been to work
right.
on a Saturday. You're not. I'm not in my slacks. I'm not in my button-down shirt or my polo shirt. I am there in t-shirt and jeans. If you're lucky. If you're not lucky, I'm in shorts.
Although Obadiah seems like the sort of person who is going to be dressing in a suit 7 days a week.
This is his casual. This is his casual suit.
Right. This is the Saturday suit.
Yeah. You can tell it's his casual suit because the jacket and the slacks aren't the same fabric.
It is very funny, and it's also Saturday because he's walking around with a drink.
Yeah,
he's started drinking
at 1 something in the afternoon.
Yes.
He feels very Mad Men. It's also I think very Mad Men. Not only that he's walking around with a drink in his hand at 1:45 in the afternoon, but that he's going into someone else's office to drink their whiskey. Just pouring myself a drink out of Tony's decanter of whiskey, and it's no big deal.
Well, technically, I would say he's pouring her a drink, right?
Well, but he refilled his own glass.
Does he actually refill his, or is he just pouring her one? I feel like we never quite see.
No, because I think when he comes in, his glass is pretty, yeah.
His looks full.
At 23 seconds, you can see his glass is less than half full. That's the glass in his left hand. And then at 45 seconds, he's got a glass in his right hand that is at least 3/4 full, and he is pouring another glass. So
yeah,
so one of these two glasses is his own glass that he has topped off, and the other glass is the pepper bound drink.
Oh no, you're right. He's picking it up with his right hand, and it looks like he's moving to pour it into his glass on the left as we end that second. And then we cut to Pepper as she's frantically kind of figuring out what to do on the computer. We see him. He obviously is putting it down, switching hands, and then he picks it up again with and that's when he smells it, and then he pours her a drink. So yeah, he tops his off.
Yeah, and then at 56 seconds, you can see him walking over to her with 2 full glasses.
Yeah.
I just figured. So, assuming he's not here because he's catching her in the act, I'd like to think he's just going into Tony's office and stealing Tony's good whiskey.
Well, okay, so this begs a question.
Well, it's not necessarily that's why he's here on the weekend, but that's why he's here right now. He was chilling in his office doing work or whatever. I want a drink. I don't want to drink out of my, bland Jack Daniels. I want to go to Tony's office where he's got the Johnny Walker Blue Label in a decanter.
Well, so this begs the question, though. The previous minute, as soon as she sticks that lock chip in, we get a security breach warning that pops up until it does what it needs to do and finally grants the access. It does make me wonder if that security breach triggered something in Obadiah's own system that let him know, hey, there's a security breach. Something, your system was accessed through Tony's office. And I wonder if that's something that sets him in motion to come over here. So two options that both could work.
Or it could.
He's getting more drink.
Yeah, it could. I don't know if it, at that point, because I think when you get the security breach, though, I don't think in the previous minute that at that point, she had accessed his files yet.
Not the files, but what we talked about is potentially in that last minute when it's accessing
his credentials.
To log into his information. So I think perhaps that is, or even it's just like security breach. Hey, we noticed, it's like that sort of message that pops up on your system. We noticed that you just logged into a new system. Is this you? That sort of thing. So it could be something like that popped up on his end.
Yeah.
And he was only a minute away. So it does make me wonder if if maybe you're right. Maybe his office was that other suite across the hall through the other set of glass doors. And maybe he was over there, got this message, grabbed his drink and walked over.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about that and thinking about that in context of what's going to happen in the next minute or two, that I think is the most reasonable explanation. Because if so spoiler for a future minute, he's about to de-screensaver the computer and see that files were downloaded. If she's just coming in because Tony needs files from Tony's own computer, that's not a big deal. It's got to be the fact that Obadiah sees, your credentials are being used to log on someone else's computer over here in Tony's office. He comes in there, sees Pepper at the computer, Pepper leaves, and he sees files are downloaded, and he goes, crap.
We just figured out the whole movie.
He put 2 and 2 and 2 together. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Now, of course, if he was really smart, he'd keep the files on a system that's not in Stark. Keep them at home, dude.
Right. And I mean, he obviously needs work anyway. I mean, he's still labeling things in top secret, super ultra secret. Probably uses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as his luggage code.
Obadiah 1 is his password. Well, it's fine because no one can spell Obadiah.
Man, I tell you, just one of those names, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything. Oh, I had one last note on this one. As he comes around and he sees the screensaver on the screen, is that an ashtray over in the corner of Tony's desk? It looks like kind of a glass ashtray. And I was like, has he ever smoked? And I don't believe in the comics he ever did. But, and maybe it's for guests and stuff, but it's more on his side of the desk than anyone else's. So it's kind of an odd thing to have on his desk.
I see that. Yeah, about 58 seconds. I was thinking, I don't think it's for Tony, but I could see, given that he probably does have, foreign secretaries of defense and people like that, and especially in some other countries, smoking is still a lot bigger than it is here. I could foresee that he would have an ashtray somewhere in the room for, I've got the Minister of Defense from Kabul here. I need to have, we know how much he loves his Pall Malls. I need to have an ashtray here for
right.
him,
Or even cigars. And I could see Tony lighting up a cigar.
Yeah. Cigars. Yeah, cigar. That could be we know for a fact that Obadiah smokes cigars. So it is possible that he even has that there for Obadiah to use.
And we know Happy smokes cigarettes because we saw both of those guys smoking outside the arc reactor earlier in the film. So maybe he keeps it here just in case Happy pops in and needs to put his cigarette out.
I always wonder when I see characters smoke, whether it's because that was a character choice that the filmmakers made as artists, or whether the actor is just like, dude, I just want to smoke while we're shooting and write it into my character that my character smokes because this is a long shooting day and I need a cig.
Exactly. Right. I think there are certain cases where that does make sense. And I was surprised in this film to see it, but I think because Favreau is a fan of cigars, I don't think he had a problem throwing in the fact that a couple characters do smoke. But in context of now Disney kind of owning the Marvel franchise, it does feel like something that Disney would not have done had they owned it from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or at least Obadiah might have smoked, but I don't think Happy would have.
Yeah, maybe. Right.
Yeah, because Obadiah is the bad guy.
All right. Well, shall we table the rest of our discussion about this room and jump in to save the rest
discussion.
For tomorrow?
I see what you did there. Yeah. Yeah. Let's set it in the ashtray and we'll pick it back up tomorrow.
We'll dig through the ashes.
Smoking hot discussion.
Right. Well, Alex, do you want to remind everybody where they can find you out there online?
You can find me on a variety of Movies by Minutes podcasts. My own podcasts are Independence Day Minute, Galaxy Quest Minute, and Cleveland in 6 going deep into Major League. Catch all those on podcatchers near you. Catch me on social media on all those. The names are pretty self-explanatory. You can probably make a reasonable guess as to what they are.
Well, check those out, everybody. And check us out too online. You can subscribe to the show for free at marvelmovieminute.com. Join us over in our Discord chat room and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Next Reel. And if you like what we do and you want to support us and get some cool stuff, become a patron over at thenextreel.com/Patreon. Until next time, true believers.